How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. Today's job, we have a transfer case off a 966 cat loader that's come in for a crack repair. But before we get into today's video, I'd just like to thank everybody who's donated and supported the GoFundMe page we set up for Matty from Matty's Workshop. For those who aren't aware, Matty is battling cancer at the moment. So if you'd like to support Matty, there'll be a link in the description below, or you can go and check out his YouTube channel and watch some of his videos. It'd be greatly appreciated. So what the transfer case does is it holds all the components that transmits the power from the engine through the transmission out to the tail shafts, which then transfer that power into the diffs, which allow the machine to go forward and reverse. So this machine was bought second-hand. It is new to our customer, but after doing a general service on it, they noticed an oil leak. They figured it would just be an O-ring. After they removed the bearing housing, which holds in the output shaft, they noticed the O-ring was still intact and it was undamaged, but they did notice there was a crack running through one of the bolt holes. After they did a bit more of an inspection, they did find other cracks through a couple of the other bolt holes, and there was a crack running through the bottom of the bearing housing. Cracks like this are very unusual, especially when there's no evidence to sort of tell you what went wrong. There is no damage on the inside, so I don't believe something inside failed, causing the crack. It could have been maybe the tail shaft broke free or a diff locked up and all that power went back through the housing and forced it to crack. But the customer didn't notice any damage on the machine to correspond with what's happened here. Because this housing is nearly $18,000 to replace it, they have asked if we can have a go at repairing it. So I definitely don't consider myself an expert when it comes to repairing cast iron housings, especially something this size. I did recommend to the customer that they go to another gentleman who has got 40 years experience in repairing cast iron, and his success rates are very high. But because he is one of the only ones around that still do it, he is extremely busy and he is booked out for months. So I'm going to give this my best shot and give the housing the best chance of being able to be repaired. We're just going to have to wait and see if this repair goes to plan. The housing is extremely cold at the moment, so those cracks are going to be closed up. I am going to put a little bit of heat into the housing in order to get them to open up and expose themselves. And we're also going to do a dye penetrant test so we can actually see them visually where they start and stop. So I'm going to be using our Dymark Flawchek system. It is a 4-step system. So I'm going to give it a pre-clean. Then I need to spray on the penetrant. That will then leach down into the cracks, and that takes about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Holy cow. Sit. Good boy. All right, come on, let's go.
So that's been about 15 minutes. What I'm going to do now is wipe away the excess penetrant. I will then use the remover to get rid of the residue. Then I can put on the developer, which will draw the red penetrant through it to expose the crack. Got to dry out. And now we can see how bad everything really is. We have cracks through 4 of the bolt holes and 1 crack running around the bottom of the housing. 2 of the bolt holes are quite bad. They do have cracks running either side of the thread. This bolt hole is definitely the worst. The crack does run all the way through the threads and out into the housing.
Hi.
So now we know where all the cracks are. What I need to do is grind them out, but I need to be careful what I'm doing there, because if I don't get all of the crack out, when I go and apply heat to this, the cracks will start to run. And then you can end up with an ongoing problem and the repair won't be successful. So I'll be using a brand new carbide burr on a die grinder. Righto, so I've got those ground out. I'm not 100% sure whether we've got everything yet. What I'm going to do is apply a little bit of heat to it, and what that's going to do is force the oil that's trapped in the crack out, and it will hopefully expose any more if I've missed any. I think we got it. So I'm happy there are no more cracks. The next thing I need to do is preheat the part, but before I do that, I'm going to get everything set up. So to apply the powder, we're going to be using our UTP Puddle Gun. It has a variety of different size tips, and those tips are for different size jobs and different rates of deposition. So there are a lot of methods in order to repair cast iron. You do have your standard electrodes, oxy brazing, silicon bronze and TIG brazing. I prefer to use a puddle gun because it's what I've had the most success with on jobs like this. There are a lot of electrodes out there on the market for cast iron, but unfortunately what's available overseas is not available here, and finding a good suitable rod for this sort of cast iron has been extremely difficult. So the difference between a puddle gun and a Rototec eutectic gun is the puddle gun is designed for stationary repairs, and it is a hot process, so the material must be red hot in order to apply the powder. With the Rototec gun, they are generally done in the lathe with the part rotating, and it is a cold process where the material does not have to be red hot in order to apply the powder. And the powder we're going to be using, it's MSSA 27. It is a high nickel based hard facing alloy, and it is the best suited powder for doing cast iron repairs on housings. And to help with preheat and post-heat, I am using BBQ burners that I picked up from my local hardware store. They're very handy because they are very low profile. I've retrofitted nozzles into the ends of them and they just simply hook up to a standard LPG bottle. So I am using 1, 2, 3 blocks just to hold the burners flat and prop them up. They are not a precision set that I use for machining. These ones are damaged. Cast iron is quite brittle. It doesn't have any elasticity compared to steel. So it is extremely important to control your preheat, post-heat and your heat input. I'll also be using an Oxy LPG kit with a heating torch to bring the rest of the housing up to temperature. I don't want any cold spots in there, so we're going to try and bring it up to about 300 degrees before we start the repair. Burn for a little bit longer. So now that's up to temperature, we can start applying the new material. So when using a puddle gun, you do need to get the parent material up to a cherry red colour. Then you can pull the trigger and apply some powder. Once that powder wets in and blends into the material around it, you can then build from there, applying more and moving along the job. I do not ever pull the trigger when the material is cold because the powder will not bond and you'll end up with a void in your repair.
How's it doing that?
No idea. We're getting something on the tip. material in. So I'm having a few issues with impurities being drawn out of the cast iron when I'm trying to apply the powder, and that's because cast iron is what's considered a very dirty material, and that is causing the spray material we're trying to apply to ball up and not bond onto the parent material. It is also causing air bubbles and air to be trapped within the cast iron. That then explodes and blows molten material back up inside the tip of the gun, and that causes issues with trying to get the powder out of the gun because it is backfiring. So because those impurities are being drawn to the surface, I am going to use the die grinder just to remove them. That way I can apply more material. Yeah. Righto guys, so I heard a crack. I did go and have a bit of a look for it, and I did find it coming back through another bolt hole, and it is starting to run out into the housing. So I did decide then that we were going to stop and maybe look at grinding that out and attacking that one. But within a couple of minutes of stopping, we heard a massive bang. Another crack had formed through another bolt hole. At that stage, I decided that was it, we're stopping. So I turned the gas off, turned off the heat, and within a minute or so, there was a massive crack through the bottom side of the housing. Cast iron for you. So that's been sitting there for a couple of minutes now without any heat on it, and there are now cracks everywhere. And that's why it is so important with cast iron to preheat and post-heat and let it come down to standard temperature as slowly as possible. So the customer was fully aware that this may not work, and he was prepared for that. So because I agreed to take this job on, knowing full well that it might not work, even though I do have a fair bit of time invested in this as well as powder, and it is very expensive, this is a failed repair, so I won't be charging the customer. So if this had been successful, the next thing I would have done was set it up in the milling machine, milled that top surface flat, rebored the ID to size, and then drilled and retapped the holes. Cast iron is one of those problematic materials that is very difficult to repair, especially when you're talking about a housing. Even though I've had a lot of success using the Puddle Gun, unfortunately, this one just didn't go to plan. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Right, so the customer first knows... noted.
Just not right so.
Okay.
Just
So the customer... so, right?
try not to use right so.
Okay. So the so I'm supposed to say so?
Yes.
Righto, so I'm happy there are no more cracks. The next step I need... fuck me.
Just no righto so.
Alright. Right, so I've preheat... right, so the cut... right, so... Fuck. Where are we going after that? Fuck me. Now I'm really fucked up.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Right. So the customer first noted. So the customer first knows. No, fuck. Words, man! Well, fucking you need speech lessons. Learn England.
I think you should try not having coffee for a day and see
you
if it
fucking
helps.
serious?
I'm serious.
Oh my god.
Your
Can you
brain might
imagine
be
my day?
slower than your mouth then.
No, the brain's already repairing it. That's the problem. The brain's already in there doing
And
it.
I'm like, slow down.
And the mouth's like, no!
Where's the spray bit?
Someone stole it.
Who?
His name starts with K and rhymes with Urtus.
Does it work still?
I'll use this one.
Oh.
There's a lid.
Oh. Why? There we.
I got these free, and I'm gonna say Sabre and Carbide a lot. Kidding, these were fucking expensive.
Okay, show me. Now just spin that one, please. Like vertical. Oh my god.
What the actual fuck is going on?
Do you want to say anything yet? Or you want to just walk away? Oh, I don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Gonna explode.
No, but it's the anticipation of something. Oh.
Right, you ready? Can fit them into parts in order to preheat and post. Fuck off. This is not a tube.
Yes, it is. Cutting edge shoe. Whoa! It's so loud. Jesus. Hey, enough. What you got? Come on.